Are you looking to farm toroids for some quick Vox Solaris standing, or maybe you just want to craft something that needs one of these toroids? I'm Tipsy, and today we'll be going over how to farm and acquire all the different types of toroids you can get in the game. First we will be going over the open world farm toroids, which are the yellow Sola Toroids, the orange Calda Toroids, and the green Vega Toroids. And then finally the Crisma and the Lazulite Toroids, which we will cover at the end of the video as they are a bit different from the other toroids. So feel free to use the timestamps to find the specific sections you are looking for in the video. So what are toroids? Toroids are a resource that can be traded in for standing with the little duck in Fortuna or used to craft various gear in the game. And it comes in two different types, the one that drops from open world enemies and the other that drops from boss enemies. So where do we get the Vega, Calda and Sola Toroids? Simply put, we need to head into Orvalis, the open world area on Venus, and each turret has a different farming location, so keep that in mind. For the Vega Toroids, you will need to kill enemies in the spaceport area, either around or inside the spaceport. And by defeating enemies in this area, there's a small chance they will drop a Vega Toroid. You can also farm them in the first stage of the Exploiter Orb farm, as the mites that spawn has a small chance to actually drop Toroids as well, though I recommend sticking with the spaceport method for efficiency. For the Calda Toroids, you will have to head for the enrichment labs and kill enemies around or inside the enrichment labs to farm for the Calda Toroids. Also, if you do have access to the Profit Taker bounties, you can also do the tier 2 bounty on repeat, which basically takes place in the enrichment labs and continually spawn the Corpus dropships, and you can then kill these enemies on top of the normal spawned enemies to increase your efficiency at actually farming the Calda Toroids. And for the Sola Toroids, you will need to kill enemies in the Temple of Profit area or inside the temple itself. Enemies in this area will have a chance to drop the Sola Toroid. Lastly, there's a method called Toroid Cave Hunting, where with each instance of Orvalis, there's a chance to spawn in 0 to 7 Toroids that can be found or picked up in caves scattered all around the Orvalis area. But as there's a lot of caves and potential locations for them to spawn, it may be a little bit challenging to actually find them consistently. So how do we kill the enemies efficiently in these targeted areas to farm toroids efficiently? So in Orvalis, there's a mechanic where enemy crewmen can actually place down a reinforcement beacon, which will increase your alert level in the area. And as your alert level rises, more enemies will start to spawn around you, giving you more chances to kill them and farm for the turrets you're looking for. So once you're inside one of your targeted areas where you will farm for the turrets you are looking for, you will just have to start attacking some enemies but avoid killing the crewmen. Until you reach the maximum amount of alert level, you will have to do this to ensure the highest possible enemy spawn rate, which will maximize your turret's farming potential. Keep in mind that the turrets has an extremely low drop rate, so it might take you some time before you see one, or you could get lucky and find them really quickly. And in these targeted areas, each enemy has a 2% drop chance to actually drop a toroid. However, for the Calda and Sola Toroids, there's a special enemy type called the Raknoid, which can spawn every now and then and has a 20% drop chance to actually drop a toroid in these areas. And to summarize it real quickly how it works, you will have to head for the targeted area, then rise your alert level to level 4 and then start killing enemies. They will then have a 2% drop chance to drop a toroid, and the Raknoid in the Calda and Sola regions will have a 20% drop rate. And then you just farm for however long you want to before you extract and reap your rewards. So what can we do to increase our chances of actually getting a toroid and making the grind more efficient? For farming toroids, there's a few things we can do to boost the chances. The first is gonna be of course the resource booster and the drop chance blessing. The resource booster will double the amount of toroids you receive, while the drop chance blessing will increase the likelihood of toroids actually dropping. Next are the warframes that can improve your loot chances with specific abilities or mods. We have Nekros with the Disintegrate ability, then there's Korra with the Pilfering Strangledome mod, and Hydroid with the Pilfering Swarm mod, but there's also Atlas with the Orgaze mod. These are the warframes recommended if you have access to them and the necessary mods to make them work as a loot frame. Note that Nekros don't require any mod for his ability to actually work. I also highly recommend using a companion, as some of the companion's mods can actually increase the chance of doubling your toroids. So if you have a beast companion, I highly recommend using the Resourceful Retriever mod or the Loyal Retriever mod, as these give you a chance to double the toroids obtained. If you are curious about how to farm the Retriever mods, I have a video linked in the description that goes over how to farm all the Retriever mods in Warframe. And if you don't have access to a beast companion with the Retriever mods, you could use a Sentinel companion with the Spare Parts mod, which sometimes marks an enemy, making them more likely to drop loot in the game. Lastly, you should consider how enemy spawn rates actually work in Warframe, as in normal mode the spawn rate is based on the number of players in the lobby, where on Steel Path mode the enemy spawns are actually maxed out even if you are playing on solo. This means that in normal mode playing solo will result in 1/4 of the maximum spawn rates, while in Steel Path solo you will have the maximum amount of enemies spawn at all times. If you have friends to join you, you could boost your kills per minute while farming for the Toroids. Alternatively, if you are strong enough to handle Steel Path, it could be a great option, as it not only increases the enemy spawn rates but also increases your drop chance overall. If you have any additional tips to help out with farming Toroids, feel free to leave a comment down below to help others out. And if you want to help me out, feel free to like the video. And here are my results for farming each location in Orb Valleys for around 15 minutes, playing on solo mode on normal with Nekros and a companion equipped with Resourceful Retriever. And for the Calda Toroids run, we did it in around 15 minutes and got 8 Calda Toroids, which is decent for this amount of time. Where on the other hand, you might go on a run like I did with the Vega Toroids, where we did 16 minutes and only got 2 Toroids out of the farming time. And lastly, for the Sola Toroids, we did it in 15 minutes and we got 11 Sola Toroids here. And as you can see, it very much depends on the run and the RNG you had in that run. And you can get around 2, 0, 11, maybe 20 if you get lucky, so it very much relies on the RNG of the run. And now to farm the Lazulite Toroid, you will need to defeat a boss in Orb Valleys called the Exploiter Orb. When defeated, this boss drops a Lazulite Toroid, which is worth 12,000 standing. To start the Exploiter Orb boss fight, you will first need to get a diluted Thermia, which is obtained by completing the recurring Thermia Fractures event, which happens every now and then. And to find this event, you will have to look in the top right corner of your navigation under the Events tab. And each time you fully seal a Thermia Fracture which appears in these events, you will then receive 1 diluted Thermia. This item is necessary to start the boss fight, but only one person in your group needs to use the diluted Thermia to initiate the boss fight. And once you or one in your party has the diluted Thermia, all you have to do is head to this cave marked on the map right here, and then all the way down at the bottom of the cave there is a summoning station where you can summon the Exploiter Orb boss fight. You will then need to defeat the Exploiter Orb, which has multiple stages, to obtain your Lazulite Toroid. I recommend watching a guide on the boss mechanics if you're unfamiliar with the fight, or you could just jump in and actually learn the mechanics as you go. And to farm the Crisma Toroid, you will need to complete the Prophet Taker bounty by defeating the Prophet Taker, which drops the Crisma Toroid, which is worth 6,000 standing with Vox Solaris. To gain access to the Prophet Taker, you must first reach max rank with Solaris United, and then complete the pre-bounties from the mission table in the back rooms of Fortuna. Additionally, you will need to craft the Arc Gun Deployer and install a Gravimac on the Arc Gun to use it in the mission. Once you have met these requirements, you can start the Prophet Taker bounty and take down the Prophet Taker to obtain the Crisma Toroids. And again, I recommend watching a guide on the Prophet Taker fight, as it has specific mechanics. However, you can queue into this bounty with other players and they often complete it pretty quickly, allowing you to pick up the mechanics as you go. Now that we know how to farm the different Toroids, you can then use them for crafting or increase your standing with the Vox Solaris Syndicate in Fortuna. To trade in the Toroids, talk to Little Dog, but keep in mind you can only interact with her in the operator form, so you'll have to switch to your operator mode before approaching her. Then go into the trade standing option and hand it the Toroids you want to exchange for the standing. Also, this method actually allows you to obtain the Gyromex systems before gaining access to the Prophet Taker bounties, which is necessary for crafting Saku. Additionally, you can also get Baruch Warframe from Little Dog using the Vox Solaris standing, alongside some powerful AMP components to craft for your operator. And lastly, I will just quickly go over the build that I used in the video. So I used the Nekros Prime with 2 foamers equipped and these mods as you see here. You don't necessarily need this exact build, as mine is more optimized for Steel Path, and this is just for anyone curious about the build that I used in the video. However, I do recommend that you use one of the loot frames in the game, or one of them that has the ability to actually get better looting efficiency. And that's it for the Toroids. Hopefully that covers everything, but if I missed anything, feel free to let me know. If you have any questions or want more Warframe tips, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other Warframe videos. We also have a Discord server where you can join a Warframe clan, so feel free to hop in there too. Stay tuned, stay tipsy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.